Siyempre hindi ko na-record. But it was something to that effect, that if we need that voice to spearhead our positions, especially the European Union, they were ready to assist us and have been assisting us with that.
Sir, did you especially support the call for a cessation of provocative actions in the Western? Did the Prime Minister say anything?
I think they were absorbing. We questioned on sa West Philippine Sea, no? So they were absorbing all of the information we were sharing with them. In particular, remember the photographs that appeared in our media about yung features that are being turned into islands. So that seemed to be a surprise to them. They acknowledge all of the I believe the valid points, no, that we raised. But in terms of there are several members in the European Union that have been saying consistently, sorry, mas maganda doon sa formal portion, pero something about no threats, no intimidations, no intimations of the use of force has been stated by several countries in the European Union. I'll get the briefer to have that particular point. No? How?
Sir, what did the Prime Minister say about our position?
The position. Well, I think they were a bit surprised at some of the things that we were telling them. They're not as aware as we are, obviously, of the developments that have been happening. So there was I guess they're now at the stage of fully appreciating the information that we imparted upon them, and I'm reasonably confident there will be that reiteration for the respect for international law, and discussions to settle the disputes. Now, if I can just get the briefer now, when they come back, there were statements done before which put it more concretely and correctly. So I'd quote from the briefer in a little while.
Sir, did he say anything like we're for the peaceful resolution of the dispute?
Yeah, dialogue, no, as the main means. But kinuha na raw. Pero mas maganda yung siyempre pagka-phrase doon than my paraphrasing of the comments from several European countries.
Sir, basically,
Lalayo lang ako konti. May feeling ako malapit ako Mount Tug.
sir, basically what did they say about the triple action plan? So, i-endorse ba siya ng at least ng Spain?
If I can just sum up, at the end of the day, especially as far as the European Union is concerned, they have offered themselves to be the voice for the Philippines in addressing not just this issue with the South China Sea, but in a whole range of issues, including our seafarers' welfare, for instance.
So, parang spokesperson natin sila sa European Union.
Co-sovereign natin state sila. Mayroon tawagin spokesperson. But they are intimately intertwined with the European Union, whereas we have sporadic interventions with them. You have the constant intervention from a country sympathetic to us in the person of Spain, or in Spain's representation.
Sir, can we say that Spain agreed to at least endorse the triple action plan sa European Union?
I think that would be premature, no? I think they adopted the soundness of the actions we have been taking. We told them about arbitration. We told them about trying to push for the formulation of the code of conduct. And I think in general they already support all of that. It's a triple action plan. Again, I think it would be more prudent for them to be able to say what did they intend to do with regards to that. Ano lang? Hindi common sa EU. Anyway, teka, news to medyo nangyari na, hindi yung mangyayari pa lang. Common topics eh. Sensya na kayo. Hindi, wala dito. Yung statement sila, no intimidation, no use of force, no threat to use the use of force. Sorry, not use. Nando sa kabilang, no? Nasa kabilang report. But again, the takeaway is they know that there are disputes. They didn't know that it had gotten to this particular levels. So I guess try to be very precise. Shall we say that there was marked concern on the developments that are happening in South China Sea?
How about alarm, sir? Were they alarmed dun sa mga pinakita niyo reports?
Alarm kasi connotes parang ungraduated response. I don't think I can say that. Yung concern, expressions of heightened concern were expressed.
Sir, lastly, what would be the next step after nyo na-appraise yung yung Spain at least, and then later yung European Union? Ano yung magiging next step din sa, would there be a statement of support or parang reiteration in concrete terms?
Parang ang dami kasi enhance cooperation between Spain and the Philippines in a wide variety of topics. Before we actually boarded the aircraft, the minister assisting the king was telling us that there has to be more regularity between the interactions between, especially the vice ministerial level, between our respective representatives. So he already enumerated all of the visits that were inspired either to Madrid or to Manila. And the way I understood it, I think it's our turn to send the vice minister over. Now, in as much as I did not ask permission to discuss all of the topics, I think it would be most prudent and most diplomatic for them to be the ones to issue statements reflecting the positions of the government. But I went away satisfied with first the length of time that we were given to discuss a wide variety of topics and the supportive nature for, if not all, most of the matters that were up for discussion.
Sir, staying on the topic of the WPS muna, no? What can Spain and other European countries do? Say, for example, can they exert pressure on China, or at the very least, or at the most, they could just express support for our position?
Well, number one, expression of support already makes I think the debate clearer, yeah, as to whose position is founded on international law, specifically UNCLOS. Number one. Number two, China's growth is dependent on trade. And the European Union in particular is very conscious of so many parameters with regards to who they would trade with. For instance, we have our issues with the treaty on safety for seafarers. There's that issue on the fisheries also. You being green when you fly into the European Union is also another aspect. So they would, I would assume, want a regime based on, again, international law, freedom of navigation, treaties that have been adhered to, conventions that have been subscribed to by member countries should be religiously complied with. So there will be a host of factors balancing economic needs and also the certainty of how to preserve the economic gains and continue the same. Now, there are certain sets of rules that have to be maintained. Now, I am not authorized to speak on behalf of the members of the European Union, but again, China will have to listen because the European Union is, I think, the biggest trading partner of China. So, can you say that you have no business meddling with us? This is particularly the sea, known by many names, that everybody has to traverse to trade with China. So, any uncertainty, tensions, especially if they become, shall we say, more heightened, might lead to an unmanageable situation which threatens everybody's lifeblood, and the economy. So, can China ignore? No, they will respond. Now, what will the European Union say? I cannot say. I'm not authorized to speak for them. How will China respond? Again, no, I'm also definitely
How do you want it?
not authorized by China to speak on their behalf. But at the end of the day, we start back to where we started. When we had all of these tensions, we told China, we believe your government, like ours, is interested in prosperity for our people. Prosperity cannot happen without stability. And all of these claims and counterclaims, and also the seemingly heightened tensions of the same, are impacting on our ability to have that stable environment which is so necessary to continue acquiring perspective for all our peoples.
Sir, medyo mag-localize tayo ng konti. So yesterday, we met with we saw some Filipinos at the replaying, and then sa Philcom, and some, without even us asking them, they want you to run for a second term. You've said before that it depends on the boss, no? Pero can I ask you, sir, ano ba talaga, kuya? And how is this going to be possible, assuming that you will run for second term, given the prohibition in the Constitution and 1.5 years in the office?
Pwede kong balikan yung kaninang utak ko sa inyo.
Babalikan ko yung question.
Babalikan ko.
Sige.
Nasaan yung threat of force? Nasaan yung... meron dito. Nasaan sila eh? Ha? Meron dito. Ang dami rin yung naghanap. Hindi pa nyo makita. Nandito yun eh. Mamaya. Hindi, hanapin niyo yun. Sorry, baka akala hindi ko kaya sagutin yung tanong niya. One more time. Specifically, how will I run? Will I run? How will I run?
Hindi, sir, ganito. Premise first. Okay, some of the Filipinos here, in Spain.
I remember that.
Okay.
Yung sequence of questions mo, so I can answer this is correct sequence. Then what's the sequence?
Sequence first. Without us asking them, they say
Yeah.
they want you to run for a second term. So now,
Some of them, some.
yes, some. Parang ayaw nyo ng marami, sir. So, you've said before na makikinig ka sa mga boss mo. But, assuming that you will run, how is that even possible? Because we have 1.5 years to change a constitutional prohibition against a second term.
Well, di ba may kasabihan tayo, pag gusto, walang imposible. Pag ayaw, walang posible. So, if the vast majority think that this is the route that has to be taken, then there will be a way based on the Constitution to afford that opportunity. Now, having said that, and baka sabihin niyo ang gulo pa rin, one of the things that I'm really weighing, siyempre ko, talking about myself, sorry, tatas ko konti sariling bako ko. Palagi ko, the people who are saying run again are saying that I did a good job in the past 4 years. Now, siyempre, you become more efficient without a learning curve in a second term. That's the plus. Yung commitments that di ba? Other countries, for instance, render unto you. There is that continuity, and you can go on a faster level, parang beyond the getting to know you stage muna. So there are a host of benefits. But the reverse side of it is, if you have somebody who is dead set on retaining power for life, by opening up this possibility of a re-election, then syempre some quarters are saying go into a parliamentary system without term limits. There is that big danger that somebody will suddenly decide to never leave. You have to weigh that risk and real risk. Di ba ngayon whether you like it or not, there is one term period. We close that door. We ensure nobody who might not have altruistic intentions to have any possibility of perpetuating himself in power. That seems to be such an ideal condition. Plus all the attendant benefits, yeah? You have to make decisions, divorce it from political considerations. And unlike, my predecessor had to answer all questions first on the political level before deciding what is important. Andiyan na, yung statement. Hindi, pero merong European statements. Hinahanap natin. ASEM nga yata. Okay? Okay na ba?
Ba talaga, sir?
Tuloy pa rin ang consultations.
Okay.
Pero of course, di ba? On a personal basis, who wants to volunteer na please pass on all of your problems for another 6 years? Please criticize me before I say anything and before I do anything. Please don't appreciate any of the effort. Yun ang personal basis. Pero most, effect sa akin, everybody who gets involved. For instance, yung so-called private office, some of them have been with me, one, in particular, private sector pa. Pero ever since I started in public office, nandiyan na siya. Look at the cabinet, people like Cesar Purisima, na has given up so much to be in the private sector, to go into the public sector. 6 years na yun. Has a new child, has to divide the time that he want to spend with the child and attending to the child's concerns with attending to the country's concerns. Pero and what about my immediate family? My nephews and nieces who are also siguro have a right to have a normal life. Yun yung personal side. So at the end of the day, yung what will be in the best interest of the state. Parang my conscience will tell me, after listening to everybody, this is the course to take. Now, well, as soon as possible. But, 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 but that is not the primary problem right now. Now, we just had Luis pass us by. May 7,000 na displays. You still have everything that I was talked about last week. Si MRT. You have the rush pagdating ng September for all the Christmas goods. Yung passing the Bangsamoro law. Yeah? Yung politics is 2016. The problems, no, right now cannot wait for 2016. It has to be solved now. Andiyan na. Wala pa rin. Isip, George.
Mr. President, pagka po napapag-usapan yung term extension,
Hindi ako lumalayo sa'yo. Lumalapit ako dito.
people call you with so many different bad names.
Bad
pero
names?
pero pagka naman napapag-usapan nga ito, ang dating doon sa kanila, you're entertaining it because you're interested in it. At ganun po ba talaga ang
Pag sinabi mo nakikinig sa boss, hindi naman makikipag-dialogue ka. Tapos meron ka ng conclusion, hindi ka pa nakipag-usap. Yung mga ibang kritiko ko, hindi ko naman natin lahatin. Di ba? Di ba ako presidente, nanumbanat na sa akin. Naubusan na ng banat, gumagawa na ng babanat, binabago yung sinasabi ko, etc. Hindi ako ganun. Hindi ako may conclusion, bahala na maghanap ng facts afterwards. So dito, inumpisa ako sa facts. Ano ba gusto nyo? Ano ba intensyon natin dito? Tapos, consensus pagkasunduan natin sa ba tayo pupunta. Ngayon, yung mga, may mga hinirit na naman sa akin, matanong ko lang, may bago kaya itong humirit sa akin ng bad names? Baka bagong bad name, pero yung humihirit, baka matagal ng name na nagbabad name sa akin. Sorry, late ng font Saan nga ba't na dito?
Ito lang po yung sa isip ng sa Laos and present ko yun sa foreign minister similar to sa Myanmar.
Pwede mong balikan ko yung tungkol doon. Ako na maghahanap. Yung kahapon na, Jun, yung binabit sa ako kahapon.
Para hindi laylay.
Okay, anything else? George?
pero para sa inyo inconvenient pagka ganun yung sitwasyon na kung ano-anong banat din ang binibigay sa inyo?
Why should I spend my time dealing with that? Pag may valid point, bakit di pakinggan? Pero kung, di ba, the usual na, parang sabihin natin nun, yung category ng, bakit iniisip nyo sa akin yung gusto nyo gawin? Sabi nung kaklase ko nung araw sa high school, what you think of me, think of you. Tagalog na nakala mo sa akin tulad. Ulitin ko, no? Ako presidente ng Republika, may problema ang bayan natin. Ayusin yung problema ngayon. Hindi makipagbangay na walang pupuntahan. Siguro yun ang essence nun Kung makakatulong kayo ito sa dialogo tungkol dito, makapunta tayo ng mas karapat dapat na solusyon. Bakit hindi kita pakikinggan? Pero kung sa umpisa pa lang, hindi tayo nagbate, minura mo na ako. At pag nagsasalita ako, hindi mo man lang ako papansinin, bakit pa tayo magdadialogo? Yung kahapon na ginagamit na briefers. Nandun yun. Ano nakakatuloy na ko dito mga okay.
Sir, hi, good afternoon. Sir, follow-up lang dun sa term extension. Having said na winiweigh niyo pa nga po at this point whether you want to have a term extension or not. But Vice President...
Sorry, yung whether I want.
Yeah,
mahirap
whether
yung,
you...
mahirap yung want.
Mhm.
Whether it's an obligation to do so or not.
Yeah, obligation
Okay.
to do so or not.
What would redound best to the interest of the country? Not just for 2016, but down the line. That is what
Okay.
is being weighed.
All right. Pero sir, Vice President Jejo Marbinay is very vocal about his interest of running for 2016. At this point, do you still consider him as your ally?
Wala naman nagagalit siguro sa mic natin. Pero no, but in his in the cabinet portfolio that he's been managing, there have been positive gains and strides. No, he has not said anything that shall we say has made me doubt whether or not he has been performing his functions. He has committed to me to be supportive until the last day of my term, and I appreciate that. No, yung politics might be important, but there are a lot of other problems that are more important and demanding of the attention right now. Yung politics always has to be secondary. Okay?
Sir, yung MRT news, yung comment niyo yung hapon sa MRT na ano ba yung outlining yung gains ng administration yung incentive
na pati traffic nagbago. Mas lalong mula. Medyo parang hindi magandang panlasa over in Manila. Can we maybe justify or whatever?
Well, sinasabi ko na naman parati, no? Yung, okay, ganito. Yung, siguro, sorry, hindi ko malaman saan natin umpisa, pero ano ba vehicle sales natin? When we started out, the figure given to me was about 100,000 per annum. Yung last year's figures, if I am not mistaken, is already para 200,000 plus per annum. This year, sinabihin na naman na up by 20% vehicle sales. Okay, number one. Yung infrastructure naman na dapat nandyan, things like yung Metro Manila Expressway, promised in 1976, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yun yung magkoconnect sa NLEX at SLEX, yung tinatawag natin connectors ngayon. Ulit, pinangako to 76, kailan kinoconstruct ngayon? Yung when nagkaroon ng groundbreaking ng Skyway 3, di ba sabi ko, ito, syempre, may construction, syempre may mga lanes na mababawas, no? Dahil di ba, yung construction equipment, yung hukay, etc. Di ba response ng tao? Naintindihan namin kailangan talaga may molestya bago mo maitayo yung infrastruktura. Okay, now, may mga nagmumungkahi. Higpitan na natin ang paggamit ng mga sasakyan sa National Capital Region. Okay. Baka tuwiran lang yon kung meron tayong pampalit. Okay. Public transport. Okay. Ano ba yung issue ng public transport? Sa NCR, the figures given to me again are daytime population 14 million. Nighttime population ng NCR 12. Therefore, yung nagko-commute 2 million a day. Okay. Yung MRT system, ano ba ridership? Tama-tanda ako 500,000 per day. Actually, over 500,000. Okay. Ngayon, hindi naman binigay sa amin yan na implement yung solusyon. Hinanap namin yung solusyon eh. Yung umpisa natin, 12,000 plus buses flying Metro Manila. Ang kailangan ng Metro Manila, 3,600. Yung the rest, no, parang provincial, di ba nung nag-umpisa? Sa EDSA ang terminal, magmamaniobra sa EDSA mismo. Haharangin yung lanes. O di ba, ang dami na ginawa ni Chairman Tolentino towards that end. Nagtayo na tayo nung temporary terminal dito sa may Makapagal, etc. Uniwide na section. Tinatapos sa yung plano para itayo yung permanent niyan. Meron ring dalawa yung south southeast at southwest, at tapos syempre yung north na integrated terminal. Tapos hindi naman lahat ito hinihintay lang gustuhin natin lahat ito lalaktawan mo yung lahat ng prosesong mandated, yung pagdaan sa NEDA, approval ng NEDA board, etc. Yung lahat ng mga nagdemanda, katulad ng 48 new vehicles, no, yung new cars for the MRT. Yung may tangan na kontrata dati, MRTC, sabi, kami dapat ang bumili niyan. Biglang inassert nila yung right nila. Nasa korte pa yata ito, baka magsasabi naman sub judice. Bottom line, yung kami mag-finance, etc. Pero dagdagan niyo yung franchise namin ng 25 to 30 years. Okay? Tatasan din namin yung fare. So, anyway lahat yan. Pag pumasok yung 48, para kompletohin ko na sa inyo, may 28 na pupunta ng general overhaul doon sa dating coaches. Itong 48 ngayon, ang papalit sa kanila para yung tren mo na pinalakasan yung power at inayos mo electrical system, magkakaroon ng 4 na hinahatak na coaches bawat locomotive o locomotive ang tawag. Baka naman nagkamali ng basta yung mahatak, 4 na hatakin na ngayon 3 Okay, now, yung signaling system na i-install rin, lahat ito between a year and a half. No? Yung signaling system, papayagan na mas malapit yung distansya ng bawat mga tren na to. So, yun yung sinasabi natin, mas rapid yung pagkuha ng pasero, pag-disgorge ng pasero. Yung release, there is something like 512-meter sections. Parang isang line, isang release na ganun, 12 meters raw. 500 daw kailangan palitan. Yung kailangan palitan yan, hindi pwede habang tumatakbo yung tren, kailangan habang nakasara, which is about 4 hours a night. Okay. Now, tapos lahat yan, kailangan mo ng feasibility study, kailangan mo ng approvals ng NEDA ICC, NEDA board, BSP, kung merong mga significant na loans na papasukan natin dito. Yung turnstiles, yung card para smart card para bawas na yung pila, parang tapik-tapik para bumilis ang flow, 50% na next year. No? Gumagana na.
So 48 new cars coming in.
Yes. Na-order na yun. Bagon. In-order na yun. Meron ng delivery. Hindi ko memorize kailan yung Meron ng, September na tayo ngayon, Sunny. Tama ka ba? First, 2015, mali ka doon. No, you ask first. Do not tell me information. You have not verified. Okay. Walang hula dito pwede. So, anyway, isa yan. Yung bus rapid transport system, no? Natapos na yung mga feasibility at saka yung proving the concept. Ginawa yan sa Bonifacio Global City at saka sa Commonwealth. Ang dulo nito, mga bus, priority lane, may signaling equipment para may priority sila sa intersections. Hindi tama priority lane. Segregated lanes. Yung terminal sila also, no, segregated para dito sa bus rapid transport system. Ang idea nun, imbis na light rail na ilalagay mo yung rail, ilalagay mo yung kuryente, ilalagay mo yung substation, ilalagay mo lahat nun. Ito stations tsaka mga bus na lang, plus yung system na magpapatakbo. Now, yung una niyan, Cebu. Dahil sa Cebu, wala mga bus. No? Ito ang gagawin mo light rail nila. Mas madali mo itayo at saka same efficiency or greater efficiency. Tapos cheaper pag bus rapid transport. Cheaper at mas mabilis mapapatakbo. Now, hindi naman bara-barang may nag-experiment na. Baka magandang bus na lang imbis na train. No? Proof of concept. Tinakbo mo muna, may mga savings sa time, turn around ng bus, buwibilis, dumadagdag ang kita nila. So, cooperative sila. Magbo-volunteer dyan. Yung first is will be put in Cebu. Tapos na yung trials. Trials for Commonwealth and Bonifacio Global City. Kapag tinignan mo, hindi naman dramatic na half of the time. Dahil ano pa rin syempre learning curve pa rin yan. Pero demonstrable efficiencies, yung increase in efficiencies ang napakita na. Okay, now yung manufacturing ng kotse, no? Puwasok na sa atin, puwapasok pa. Pag manufacturing, hindi assembling ha. For instance, Mitsubishi bought the old Ford plant to put up a stamping plant. Gagawin mo na talaga yung major components within the country and other parts. Okay? So bababa rin yung, supposed to be 3 na yung brands na nagmamarket ng kotse na para between 5 to 8,000 ang amortization per month, targeting the PPO members, employees. So that will also add to the stresses in the roads. Okay. Now, yung makikita naman niya, yung NAIA Expressway, medyo advanced na rin. Pero mas impress ako doon sa Skyway. No, para from nothing, ilan na yung columns na nakatayo. So, commitment sa atin, lahat naman yan, they're saying, we will try to put this up earlier than committed. Yes.
Na lang ng visit sa Spain. Can you briefly tell us kung ano po yung napag-usapan niyo with the King and also kung may investments po na nakuha from the Spanish businessman?
Siyempre, mahirap i-pronounce lahat ng mga pangalan ng kumpanya. Naalala ko, one of them was Action. No? Pero marami. Very large firms. Siguro I can ask Greg na lang to brief, no? Yung specifically what firms and what projects. So marami in terms of water, and other infrastructure, yung others pati rail, pati defense, medyo mababa yung list eh. Some of them are actually bidding already for various projects. Ngayon ayoko naman manghula para maibigay sa inyo specific na mga details. Maraming interest for instance sa bulk water project sa Bulacan at saka yung Kaliwa na dam. May pagkukunan tayo for the NCR also. Yung mga kailangan gawin kasi doon sa water natin, meron mga facilities connected to Angat, 1930s pa tinayo ng mga Amerikano. No? At medyo malaki ng diferensya ng population natin at that point in time to the population now. Medyo matagal-tagal nang ginagamit ito. So kailangan ng improvements doon. May several bidders for yung of the 20 no, na so far nagbili ng bid documents for the Laguna Lake project. Several of them are the Spanish firms that we talk to here. No? Meron mga, kinito nila, may mga nahuli sa biddings on various other. Sama ba natin si Coset? si Coset. Coset can brief you na lang on the PPP projects. No? Okay. Yung kay King, again, siyempre kausap ko, hindi ako nagno-notes. Pero number one, we were able to, a whole range of topics. No? Amongst the things that we thanked him for was yung assistance to repair, yung skills sa masonry para dito sa lahat ng gumuhong mga simbahan. Ina-afford sa atin ng Spain, natuturuan yung pag yung skills nga para maibalik yung karamihan to the hindi ba to the previous condition. Kasi hindi mo naman isi-simulate eh. Yung lahat ng pwedeng ma-recover pa na luma na pwedeng magamit. That's one of them. Tapos yun na nga, the whole series of concerns, no, from the South China Sea to our dealings with the European Union, discussed with the Prime Minister very in-depth, and also with His Majesty the King. No? Tapos at the end of it nga, the necessity, well, for me, no, the biggest takeaway is for both of them, no, to say that Spain is offering itself to be our constant voice, especially in dealing with the European Union. And to see them nga the King also was talking to us about more enhanced relationships, not just between Spain and the Philippines, but Spain and Latin America, Philippines and the Latin America in particular. No? Tapos pa rin global climate change, etc. Also the other discussions. We found it. Yung EU statements. No threat. Yan. Sige. There was a 20th ASEAN EU Foreign Ministers meeting in Brussels last July, no? Ito yung kanina ko pa hinahanap eh. Where both the EU and ASEAN had the opportunity to reaffirm the importance we each attach to this relationship, especially in our agreement in the maintenance of peace and stability, the rule of law, and inclusive economic growth in Europe and Southeast Asia. In particular, we appreciate the stance taken by the EU through the intervention of the EU High Representative, Madam Catherine Ashton, that EU ministers opposed any unilateral attempt by any party to assert its territorial or maritime claims through the use of intimidation, coercion, or force. The EU ministers support the rights of claimants to seek peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with international law, including through legal dispute settlement mechanisms. Okay. So, yun last July. Okay. So, happy tayo doon. There's a reaffirmation also of this. Okay, Albert.
Sir, okay?
Happy birthday na.
Si Domingo na lang daw.
Okay. Well, si Greg at saka si Cosette, to give you the details, both in sa trade aspect, which firms are interested. Alam niyo yung isa pa doon, sorry, binubulot ko lahat at random, is called Pascual de Leche. Ano? Grupo Leche Pascual. Ngayon, Pascual something. Calidad Pascual. So they're already in the Philippines. They're marketing yogurt. No? Yung yogurt nila under the UHT process, hindi kailangan refrigerate. Bottom line, source of protein, no, na pwedeng makatulong sa ating nutrition efforts. Tapos, if there is a sizable market for them to transfer the manufacturing aspect also in the Philippines. Pero hindi pa sinasabi, they're in partnership with, Lusutan's group, no? And it's already gano'ng matagal na sila doon? Well, bahala na si Greg sa detalye. So baka maglalansa kayo, baka maglanding na tayo. Yung mga detalye sa kanila. Unless there's anything else for me.
Okay.
Okay
Thank
na?
you.